Okay, it is 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, and we just came downstairs and see that our starter has more than doubled. So this is where it was last night, and it's grown all this way, which is wonderful. You can see, hopefully you can see in there, there's lots and lots of bubbles. That's exactly what we want. And so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go ahead and mix up our dough. And then we need to let that double. Anyway, don't wanna get ahead of it. We'll just go through, we're gonna get our scale and turn it on. As always, make sure it is 2 grams. Put our bowl on there, hit tar. And I'm gonna do a double batch of bread. I usually always do a double batch just because it's easier for me. Maybe one goes in the freezer, one goes to a friend, and then one we eat. So it's normally 110 grams of starter, but I'm doing 220. So I want you to see, hopefully you can see what this starter looks like in the inside. You see all those lines? Do you see it? Yeah, that's what you want. That means it's really strong starter, okay? So we're gonna measure out to 220. After a while, you sort of get used to this. I think the other time I did it, I got it exactly at 220, but I might not be that lucky today. Sexy, huh? Okay. Just get a little bit more out here. And again, as you know, you can always take a little bit out. 209. See if we can get 220 out of this. 18. That's about how picky do you want to be about this? Let's get it out here. Okay. 220. Look at that. Awesome. 221. I'm not going to bellyache about it. And we just put this aside, and that can stay in our refrigerator until we bake again, and then we have to feed it again. Okay? So from here, we'll hit tar all the way back to grams, and I've used filtered water. Again, always use filtered water, and we've heated it up in the microwave. It's not hot, but it is a little bit warm. So the recipe calls for warm water, 396 grams, but I'm doing 792. I'm doubling it. So you always add the water to the starter and then mix it up. Okay, it's a little bit over, but you know what? It is no big deal. Put it back in the water. 799, 798, 792. Awesome. Okay, at this point, you're just gonna go ahead and whisk it, okay? And then we're gonna add our flours and our salt. But it's important to make sure that this is all sort of mixed together and it's all incorporated. Doesn't take long. A lot of times you'll see on the internet and things when people whisk it up and they'll say, oh, it's all gummy. Don't add the salt to this yet. I add the salt along with the flour because the salt for some reason will make it really, really gummy when you're trying to mix it. So I'm just about done getting this all incorporated. Does not take long. See, pretty clean, okay? We're gonna hit tar, all right? And then this recipe calls for about 50 grams of whole wheat flour, but again, I'm doubling it, so I'm doing 100. It gives it a little bit extra flour, a little bit of extra protein and fiber. And again, even if you mix too much of this, as long as you're mixing it all up together, you can take your spoon and sort of inch it out. Perfect. Okay, take that aside. And I do mix this up because in the past I just added it with all the other flour and then I got big clumps throughout the bread where some of it was just the white flour, some of it was the whole wheat flour. So I feel like if you can incorporate it all at this point, go ahead. You guys might choose to do a recipe that doesn't call for whole wheat flour. This is my go-to recipe, and it's pretty much the base of all of the sourdoughs that I make. I started off with it, and I feel like, you know, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So we tarred it and got it all the way back, and we're gonna add 1,000 grams of bread flour. Again, if we were doing a single loaf, it would be 500. Loosen up the flour a little bit. You can do big scoops. Getting close, 9:17, 9. Oh, okay, a little bit over, but again, take that out. Perfect. All right. Put that aside, and then before we mix it all up, I'm gonna add the salt. Go back to tar. I know it went back down to $9.99, but I'm not really concerned about that. Okay, so the recipe calls for 11 grams. I'm doing 22 of salt. Again, if you put it all in the same spot, if you put a little bit of extra, you can always scoop a little bit out. That's the beauty of that right there. $23. 22. That's perfect. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and mix this up. Put the scale aside. We're not going to need that more for right now. And I use my hands. Most recipes say to go ahead and mix it up until it's shaggy. In fact, that's what my recipe said initially. I do that, and then you're supposed to cover it up and let it sit for a half hour. The reason for that is because you want all of this flour to go ahead and absorb all of the liquid. But the great thing about sourdough is you sort of find what works for you. So I'm going to mix this up, and I've been watching another person that makes sourdough, and I've adopted the other way to do this, is that you're going to knead it on the counter for about 5 minutes straight. I'm not going to tape all of the whole 5 minutes because that can be pretty boring. But what we're doing is when we knead it, and then when we do stretch and folds, which will be next after this phase, we go ahead and we're actually building up the gluten to help me get it nice and airy. So make sure you have a clean counter, okay? This is like my favorite part. It's kind of fun and aggressive, okay? Stick your hands in there and you get a little bit of a workout. Let me see what time it is. 8:57. What we're doing is pulling it. This. I go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now it looks very sticky. It looks gross, but look, all you have to do is bring it back to the middle. Building up the gluten. And you will see as you do this a little bit more, it's going to get put together a little bit more, a little bit smoother. But this is fun. This part is fun. And so after we do this for 5 minutes, I'm going to put it in the bowl, and you don't add flour to it, you don't add anything to it, and you cover it up. Let it sit for 30 minutes, and then we do stretch and folds. And I'll go over that with you. See, you can look and see already it's starting to take a little bit more shape. Okay? Just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now, how do you get this mess off of your hands? Gosh, that feels good. just sort of scrape it off, or you use the scraper that I have there. I'm gonna keep working on this and stop for right now, but then when I put it back in the bowl, we'll start it again, and after it's been sitting for about 30 minutes. So I'll see you.